will include a historic increase in defense spending to rebuild the depleted military of the United States of America at a time we most need it.
Tonight on KTRS radio after the Missouri game, we're going to air President Trump's speech in its entirety, but he is going to speak to a joint session of Congress. Trey Hardin, ABC News political analyst, here to fill us in on what to expect. Good morning, Trey Hardin.
Good morning, McGraw. You know, we always seem to kind of touch on some sports issues when we talk too, which I love, but I am a Washington Capitals season ticket holder, so...
So you're welcome.
So yes, thank you. We're looking forward to this. Maybe this will be the one that finally gets this talented Caps team all the way through.
What's interesting is that this is the first team which I can't criticize you for being a front runner for.
Exactly.
All right, let's talk a little President Trump here, because he came out with big military spending and not touching entitlements, and finally realizing for the first time that fixing health care might be not as easy as he once thought.
Yeah, exactly. There's no question that Donald Trump's personality and where he comes from a business background is he thinks that nothing is impossible. Well, I think he has learned pretty quickly, or certainly will learn as it relates to dealing with these issues, that there are obstacles, there are challenges, there are guardrails, there are boundaries, whatever you want to call them, that will limit him in what he's able to do. And certainly there are political factors as well in terms of getting things through Congress, particularly even with his own party. Republicans in the past have wanted it both ways on the military spending. I mean, I'll be honest, as someone that's worked in the Republican Party for a long time and worked for members of Congress that were very involved with the defense community, they've kind of wanted it both ways. They've been willing to cut in other areas. But you're exactly right. Tonight when he gives that speech, I mean, he can talk about military buildup all he wants, but if he's not providing solutions and alternatives as to where some of those cuts might come from, it's going to put Republicans in a tough spot when they leave that chamber and talk to the media.
We've talked to a number of foreign, I'm thinking of Jim Talent, who is a national security honcho, former senator here, and he often talks about giving presidents leverage and options. And if one of the things they take away is foreign aid, which is, I mean, talk about that's like getting rid of Showtime on your cable to balance your house budget. You take away a lot of leverage for very little money around the world. How smart of a move is that if they end up doing that to help balance the budget?
Well, I guess it depends on the audience you're talking about. I mean, Trump, in many ways, Trump has become a big isolationist, and it's kind of, he talked about it during the campaign, and I think that he's been almost pretty consistent with that the first 30 days. It's almost like he has the heck with the world kind of view, whether it's trade or whether it's our foreign relations or military presence, or certainly as he, the difficulty he got into on the NATO front, where he started talking about, and he's kind of backtracked on it, where he talked about how, we don't really need it and all that stuff. So it depends on the audience. To his voters, to people that he has been, preaching to for months, and now he can do no wrong with, I think they'd be happy to see that go away. But is it realistic politically with members of Congress that he's going to need to get some of these other issues through? To your point and to Jim Talon's point, I think that's a separate question that'll be difficult.
Entitlement reform. It's not. His name isn't Paul Ryan. His name is entitlement reform. And one of the things President Trump, if we are to believe what is coming out of the White House, is that they don't want to touch the two biggest entitlements, which takes up all the money. How is that going to square when they meet to solve all these problems?
Well, it's getting a lot of attention, and Democrats are certainly trying to call President Trump's bluff right now. I mean, certainly Democrats would like to keep entitlements as well, too, but you're going to hear many of them probably try to jump on President Trump to say, oh, well, we've been asked when we were in power to look at entitlement reform, and now this president doesn't have to. It's going to be all of that kind of double standard talk. But this is nothing that's new. I mean, every president we've had talks about entitlement reform or but ultimately, what happens? Do we get it? Do we touch it? Do we get something done on it? Absolutely not. So that, to me, is an area that has been inundated with political rhetoric, no matter who's been in office.
You have a direct pipeline to Sean Spicer. Did he check your phone? One. And then two, do we have any sense tonight, is President Trump going to be more presidential, or is he going to be the bombastic, in-your-face Donald Trump that he has in his first 5 weeks in office?
We might see him be a little bit more presidential, but that's let's be honest, that's all relative. It's not saying much. He has not been that presidential to this point. I think where we'll see him be presidential is he's not going to be looking to pick fights tonight. I think that there definitely will be some undertones of you're either with me or against me kind of thing, because I think that's just his personality, and I think it's consistent with the kind of campaign-type speech that he likes to give in these moments. But I don't think you're going to see a speech that's directed specifically to the people in the room, the members of Congress, which it is ultimately is supposed to be intended for, even though it's in front of the entire country. I think it's going to be the other way around. It's going to be for the entire country, with the members of Congress in the room having to listen as if they were watching it on their TV set. So I think that we will see him speak as if he did, kind of like he was on the campaign trail, but you're not going to see him go after the media in the speech tonight, I don't believe.
Well, we'll see what happens. Trey, congratulations on Shattenkirk. You're welcome. You owe us one in the future for a player to be named later. Have a good week.
We'll
Thanks.
send you one of our farmhand Nats players.
There you go. All right.
Okay.
Trey Hardin, ladies and gentlemen, every Tuesday here on the Big 550 KTRS. Again, we're going to carry President Trump's speech in its entirety tonight. We do have a little bit of a scheduling conflict. Missouri basketball first, and then after that game, we'll immediately go to Donald Trump's speech. So you'll be able to hear both in their entirety tonight on the Big 550 KTRS. Also, if you're not by a radio and you still want to hear it, you can download the app, which is great, crystal clear quality on your phone. It's great.
It is.
628.